Nobody believes Barbie's 50. But me. It's been a long road for us, and like most couples, we've had our ups and our downs. You know, Barbie's only 2 years older than me, so our age difference was really never an issue. But her identity crisis was. I mean, she could never make up her mind about what she wanted to be or what she wanted me to be. Everybody, meaning adults, were fixated on her breasts. And let me tell you something, they were a distraction that nobody could quite shake. Except for Ruth. You know, after Pamela's cancer, Ruth never lost sight of her epiphany to restore women's dignity. I mean, chances are, if you've had a mastectomy and you're wearing a prosthesis, you're probably wearing Barbie's breasts today. Did you know Barbie has an older adopted sister, Lily, who everybody's ashamed of? I know. Lily was a German, and to tell you the truth, she was a high-class hooker. She wore backless dresses down to her butt and short black miniskirts that blew above her waist like Marilyn Monroe's in 7-Year Itch. Except for Lily, the German, didn't wear any white cotton panties. Or any panties. So you really can't blame Barbie for inheriting her erotic nature. Not that any genes were passed down, but Ruth did admire Lily's independence and sexuality, so it's only natural that Barbie would imitate Lily for parental approval. I don't know who started the rumor that Barbie is anatomically correct when she's missing her most anatomically important part. I mean, you could be a woman without having large breasts, but you can't be a woman without a ya-ya. So don't go around saying that I'm less of a man or half of a man because I'm missing a part or two. You know, I've taken a lot of heat over the years from people saying that I wasn't man enough to satisfy the princess. I mean, truth is, Ruth was too protective of Barbie, always pushing her this way and that, giving her me, a trophy boyfriend who was nothing more than window dressing. You know, in today's terms, I'm what they call a metrosexual. Which is why they had to give Barbie an idealized opposite to her femininity. So they created G.I. Joe. And you know what? The great American hero didn't get any further than I did. That's right. I was the steady date and Joe was the come-along hot stud. It wasn't until that boogie-board, boy-toy Aussie surfer Blaine came along that Barbie actually became hot about a guy. I mean, Blaine was young enough to be Barbie's son, but Blaine couldn't believe that Barbie was 50 either. I mean, who would in those Cali girl hot pants? When Barbie turned 16, Ruth attempted to give her baby brother tender love, who was anatomically correct. And you know what happened? Mothers in Louisville, Kentucky stormed the stores and castrated baby brother. They cut off his penis with kitchen knives. Hundreds of tiny penises littered the floors of Toys R Us. Which is why Barbie only has a sister and no brothers. Unlike Barbie, who was born with boobs to knock your eyes out, Skipper... Unlike Barbie, who was born with boobs to knock your eyes out, Skipper had to grow hers, and boy, did she. When her arms were out in front of her like this, she was flat-chested and innocent, but when she whipped her arms back, out popped a respectable rack. I mean, nothing like Barbie's, but whose was, right? I mean, talk about confusing teenage boys all over who were already confused enough as it is. I mean, can you imagine being 16 years old and you're trying to vet a girl who's all ripe and curvy, and she puts her arms forward to bring you close to her voluptuous body, and poof, her boobs disappear and she becomes 9 years old again. I mean, what do you do then? Barbie was an astronaut twice, and the second time she wore a hot pink miniskirt and silver lingerie underneath her Galaxy valise. Not exactly innocent attire when you're trapped inside of a spaceship with 5 horny men. When I asked her about it, She said that she wanted to look her best for the moon landing. She planned on wearing her hot pink bodysuit for the moonwalk when the whole world would be watching. But what about the silver lingerie, I asked? Would the whole world be watching then? She said, Houston never sleeps, and you wouldn't want to see your Astro Girl role model in flannel PJs, would you? Oh. Barbie and I broke up 48 hours before Valentine's Day. I know. Even though I had been revamped as California stud, board shorts, white tight shirt, looked like I had been pumping 300 pounds my whole life, I looked good. And I was shocked when one of those Hollywood publicists announced that we had split up, said that we had grown apart, that we would remain friends, that I was no longer hot enough for Barbie. She made Barbie sound like Elizabeth Taylor getting her 5th divorce. I mean, I'm sorry. You know, Hollywood romances don't break up after 43 years. Most don't last 43 months. And the young couples, the Barbie doll lookalikes, you know the ones I'm talking about. They end their relationships at 43 days, so don't go saying we had just another Hollywood romance. That publicist went on to say that I was no longer Barbie's type. I mean, what a crock of poopy! I was Barbie's significant other for 4 decades and the presumed groom-in-waiting when Barbie teased the world with all of those wedding dresses. I mean, do you remember when they revamped us as Malibu Barbie and Malibu Ken? We were the quintessential California couple. But that Hollywood publicist insinuated that I might be gay. I mean, talk about making me mad! I mean, it's not my fault some dimwit created the earring magic Ken doll that the gay rights movement adopted as their symbol. But that publicist also insinuated that a straight man might rejuvenate Barbie's career. You know, it was Elliot and the male director's fault that I am not a real man. Not only did they break up my 43-year romance with Barbie, but they also successfully fired me because of my gender preference, which has always been Barbie. I never strayed, not once, not even with Skipper, who hit on me all the time when Barbie was traveling. After Barbie and Blaine hooked up, I was devastated, humiliated. So I disappeared. I went to Europe, to Asia, to Cambodia, where I met the Dalai Lama. I told him about how much I loved Barbie, how she was my soul, my joy, how without her in my life I felt like there was no place for me on this earth. I told him about all those years I had been chased by Ruth, hoping that she would make me whole so I could consummate my love with Barbie once and for all, only to be denied. And without Barbie in my life, I should just return myself to the pyre and melt myself back to molten polyvinyl chloride from whence I had been shaped. He put his hand on my shoulder. Shh. Don't despair. I, like you, am immortal. There will always be a young spirit to replace us on earth, to procreate and consummate our duties. He told me that I should be happy for Blaine. Happy that Blaine would rejuvenate Barbie's career and make her an icon for another 50 years. But I'm not.